Imagine for a moment that your existence is not only an act of divine creation but also that you have been specifically chosen by God to play a unique role on the stage of life. Neville Goddard invites us to contemplate our relationship with the divine from a completely new perspective. Instead of thinking of God as an external figure, what if we begin to experience life as if we were seeing through His eyes? Reflecting on God as something separate from us limits us, but considering our existence from His point of view reconnects us with our deepest essence, from which we have never really been separated, despite our limited perceptions making us think otherwise. Seeing the world from the divine perspective is to perceive everything around us as an extension of our being. This is the only way to experience love in its purest form. Any devout Jew is familiar with the first 5 books of the Torah. Therefore, they understand that, according to Exodus, God manifests Himself in the I Am, but still, many do not grasp that this I Am is the same one that resides in each one of us. My name is Neville Goddard, and you, what is your name? Hello, I Am is what God represents, needing to manifest in all possible forms, including mine, yours, and that of anyone else who comes to your mind at this moment. It may seem presumptuous to say I am him and he is me, but this perception is only diminished for those who have minimized their own essence for so long that they can no longer recognize their magnitude. This statement was made by Christ, and I repeat it constantly because this Christ, the only one, manifests both in me and in you, the crucified one, that is, the one who is at the intersection, united at a central point. Therefore, these words resonate with such truth: it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. This Christ represents my connection with everything and everyone, and this role does not admit simulations. It must be assumed with total dedication until the spectator forgets the actor and only sees the character. Have you adequately played your role? People only see the character in you, but the time has come to remember the actor behind that role, that unique actor who plays all the roles. This drama is a fiction that you have agreed to collaborate with, a pact sealed in the highest spheres. It is possible to remember that everything is part of a performance in which, at some level, you have chosen to participate. It is possible to change roles and immerse yourself in oblivion again. God has veiled Himself in the character that is you, and my purpose is to remind you of this. However, you can continue to ignore this truth, reject it, and even change the script. As I mentioned earlier, it is possible to alter the environment and the characters around you. I will keep the same characters but introduce new dynamics. Today, I present myself on this stage of life as Neville Goddard, but the true actor behind this character is God, the supreme actor who knows all the dramas, all the stages, and all the characters, since He has played them all, from the past, present, and future, without limitations of time or space. God has forgotten Himself in this body called Neville Goddard, or insert your name here, and this is reflected in the Bible when Christ Himself questions heaven, wondering why He has been abandoned. We experience this call daily when we live unconscious of the fact that there has been no real abandonment, but a forgetting, a blessed and premeditated forgetting, because deep down, we know that this same Supreme Being acts in my life and in yours. If you manage to understand that God resides in you through your I Am, if you manage to perceive and listen to everything that is already arranged for you, even in the realm of dark matter, then every night, I transcend this world of dreams towards the reality of the fourth dimension and return to this world of mortality, where each thing only comes to life through our attention. And I continue this cycle night after night until I grow weary of this physical body and decide, by my own will, to bid farewell to it. Remember that any transgression is only committed against oneself, since you have learned that there is a single actor for all roles, for all characters. The betrayed Christ is also the betrayer, and the kiss of betrayal is both given and received by the same actor in different masks. How can He be in two places at the same time, living as two distinct entities? If this confuses you, then you have not understood the scriptures that affirm the omnipresence of the one who has sent us. Considering God as external to oneself is to fall into idolatry, no matter what name is assigned to Him. Blindly trusting in time, in saints, in luck, in political figures, in astrological signs, or in numbers, all of this constitutes idolatry. These are mere creations of the Creator, and granting them power is to deny the one who has truly created them. You are free to forge your own idols. This is an undeniable truth, isn't it? the bed in which you intend to rest. Ultimately, what most distances people from this truth is the lack of faith in the I Am, or the inability to accept God as the force behind all creation. Consuming the fruit of good and evil expels us from paradise, that is, perceiving the world in dualities distances us from the kingdom where everything is one. Participating in this drama called life, choosing the fruit of good and evil, transports us from unity to the collective, from the total being to the individualized being. When we limit ourselves to reflecting on God, we situate Him outside of ourselves, as if He were a separate and distant being. But when we dare to adopt the divine perspective, we begin to understand that God has never been truly separated from us. Our limited perception of truth may lead us to believe otherwise, but the reality is that God has always resided within us, in that sacred and inviolable place of our being. Seeing the world through the eyes of God is recognizing that everything around us is an extension of our own being. Every person, every creature, every object, and every experience is a manifestation of the divinity that dwells within us. This perspective allows us to experience love in its purest and most authentic form, free from judgment, fear, and separation. Jewish devotees are familiar with the first 5 books of the Torah, where it is told that God manifests Himself in the I Am. However, many fail to grasp that this same I Am resides in each one of us. Neville Goddard reminds us that when we introduce ourselves by saying hello, I am, we are expressing the very essence of God, who yearns to manifest in all possible forms, including yours, mine, and that of any other person who comes to our mind at this moment. It may seem presumptuous to affirm I am Him and He is me, but this perception is only diminished for those who have minimized their own essence for so long that they can no longer recognize their true magnitude. Christ Himself made this declaration, and Neville Goddard repeats it constantly because this unique Christ manifests in Him, in you, and in me. We are the crucified ones, those who find themselves at the intersection, united at a central point. The words of St. Paul resonate with profound truth when he says, "It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me." This Christ represents our connection with everything and everyone, and it does not admit simulations. We must assume this role with total dedication until the spectator forgets the actor and only sees the character. But have we adequately played our role? People only see the character in us, but the time has come to remember the actor behind that role, that unique actor who plays all the roles. Life is a drama, a fiction in which we have agreed to collaborate, a pact sealed in the highest spheres of existence. It is possible to remember that everything is part of a grand performance in which, at some level, we have chosen to participate. We can change roles and immerse ourselves in oblivion again, but always with the awareness that God has veiled Himself in the character we are. The purpose of Neville Goddard, and of all those who have awakened to this truth, is to remind us of our true identity. However, we have the freedom to ignore this truth, reject it, and even change the script. We can alter the environment and the characters around us, introducing new dynamics into our story. But behind each mask, behind each character, lies the same supreme actor, God. God knows all the dramas, all the stages, and all the characters because He has played them all, without limitations of time or space. He has forgotten Himself in each body, in each life, to experience the totality of creation. The idea that God resides within us, and that our perception of separation is merely an illusion, is a profound and transformative concept. It challenges us to let go of the notion that God is a distant, external entity and instead embrace the truth that the divine is an integral part of our being. When we begin to see the world through the eyes of God, we recognize that everything around us is a reflection of the divine essence that dwells within us. This perspective has the power to revolutionize our experience of love, allowing us to love others as we love ourselves, without judgment or fear. When we understand that every person, every creature, and every object is a manifestation of the divine, we can approach life with a deep sense of reverence and appreciation for the sacredness of all things. We have all bitten that apple by coming here, feeding duality, good and evil, cold and heat, victory and defeat, joy and sadness. All of this is part of the process and our cosmic pact with the Creator. The highlighted affirmation, "God forgot Himself in this body," called Neville Goddard, or insert your name here, reflects a biblical moment when Christ Himself questions heaven for feeling abandoned. We live this call daily, remaining unconscious of the fact that there has been no true abandonment, but a forgetting, a blessed and deliberate forgetting because, deep down, we know that this same Supreme Being acts in both my life and yours.